So around a month ago, I made a video talking about what weapons you should use on every single character for Genshin Impact. In this video, I'll talk about what artifacts you should use and all the main stats and substats you should be going for. I'll talk about the best in slot artifact and I'll talk about other artifacts that you can use because you don't always need the best in slot. Now that I'm editing this video, I didn't realize I didn't talk about what substats you should be going for these characters. A quick tip, whatever main stat you're going for is the substat you should be going for. I'll also put the energy requirement for every single character on screen. Also, before we start, make sure to like, sub, and join my Discord to know when I go live here on YouTube. Albedo. Now for Albedo, the two artifact sets you want to run on him are a 4-piece husk and a 4-piece golden troop, depending on if you already have enough defense or not. If you already have enough defense, golden troop will perform slightly better, but if you don't have any defense, then husk will perform better. Now other than these two sets, a big fall off, but you can run 2-piece of these sets. A 2-piece husk, a 2-piece golden troop, or a 2-piece archaic petra are all pretty fine. For the main stats, you want to go for a defense percent sands, a geo damage goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet. You can also go defense depending on your build, but crit or defense can both work. Alhaitham. Now for him, his best in slot is going to be Gilded Dreams. But if you are struggling to get a good Gilded Dreams set, you can run a 2-piece Gilded Dreams and a 2-piece Deepwood. Or you could run a 4-piece Deepwood, all being very decent on him, but Gilded is the one I would recommend. For Sands, you do want Elemental Mastery, but if you are struggling to get a good Elemental Mastery piece, an Attack Sands is actually fine. For Goblet, you want Dendro damage, and for Circlet, you want crit rate or crit damage depending on what you need. Aloy. Now for Aloy, I'll go over a Burst, a Support, and a Permafreeze Aloy. Now for Burst, a lot of these artifacts are very close in damage. So a 4-piece emblem is your best, and then after that you can mix up a bunch of 2-pieces. A 2-piece Blizzard, a 2-piece Wanderer's Troop, a 2-piece Noblesse, or a 2-piece of any attack artifact. A 4-piece Noblesse is going to be slightly under that, but again, they're all very similar in damage and you should go off what substats are the best. For your Sands, you should go for Attack or Elemental Mastery or Energy Recharge. It depends on what you need. For the Goblet, you should go Cryo, and for the Circlet, you should only go for Crit. For a Support Aloy, you want to go for Noblesse 4-piece or for a 4-piece Instructor set. And for main stats, you should go for an ER Sands, a Cryo Damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet, especially if you are using Favonius Warbow. For a Permafreeze Aloy, Blizzard Strayer is the only set you want to run. And for stats, you should go for an Attack Sands, a Cryo Goblet, and always a crit damage circlet. Now for Amber, I'll go over a Melt team, a Bunny Bomb team, and a Burgeon team. For a Melt team, the only artifact sets you want to use are a 4-piece Shimenawa and a 4-piece Wanderer's Troop. You should go for an EM or Attack Sands, a Pyro Damage Goblet, and always do a crit damage circlet because you are going to be shooting them in their weak spots. Now for a Bunny Bomber team, you are going to be mixing up 2-piece sets. Any 2-piece attack, 2-piece EM, or Crimson Witch of Flames all work really well. There is no artifact set to really support this playstyle. For Sands, you do want to go EM or attack. For Goblet, you should always go pyro damage. And for Circle, you go crit rate or crit damage, depends on what you need. For Burgeon Amber, you want to go full EM, so your best set is going to be Gilded Dreams. You can also run a 2-piece Gilded and 2-piece Wanderer's Troop, but Gilded Dreams is going to be your best in slot by a good amount too. And for your main stats, you should go full EM across the board. Ayaka's best in slot by a long shot too is the 4-piece Blizzard Strayer. Now if you don't have 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, you can run a mixture of Noblesse, any attack set, or Blizzard Strayer. Now for stats, you want to go for an Attack Sands, a Cryo Damage Goblet, and either a crit damage or an attack circlet depending on which one you need. Now good sets for Ayato, a 4-piece Heart of Depth, a 4-piece Nymph's Dream, a 4-piece Gladiator, and a 4-piece Echoes of Offering only if you're on low ping. Other good sets could be 2 pieces of what I just said, either a 2-piece attack, or 2-piece Hydro damage, all work pretty well on him. Now in all these sets, you want to go for an Attack Sands, a Hydro Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Baizhu. Now for Baizhu, his best in slot is going to be 4-piece Deepwood, but it does depend on what team you're using. 4-piece Instructor can be a great set for him, especially on aggravate teams. And if you're on an attack skilling team, Noblesse can work too. You can also run him on one of the healing sets like Ocean Clam or Songs of Days Past. It just depends on what team you're playing. But for all these artifact sets, you do have the same stats across the board. For the Sands, you want to go between HP or Energy Recharge, depends on what you need. For the Goblet, I would always recommend HP, and for the Circlet, HP or healing bonus, depends on which one's better for you, or whichever you have access to. Now for Barbara, I'll go over a healing Barbara, I'll go over a vaporized Barbara, and then I'll go over one where she's played on Nilou Bloom team. For a healing Barbara, you do only want to run her on a 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam, and the stats you want to run are an HP Sands, HP Goblet, and either a healing bonus or HP Circlet. For a vaporized Barbara, I would recommend Wanderer's Troop over everything. 4-piece Heart of Depth, can also work, and the mixture between 2-piece attack, 2-piece elemental mastery, and 2-piece hydro damage can all work. For the stats, you want to go for an attack stance. EM can be decent on it, but I would recommend attack over it. A hydro damage goblet and a crit circlet. For a Nilou Bloom Barbara, you do want to put it on either Gilded or Flower of Paradise Lost. Both those sets will get the job done. For stats, you want to run full elemental mastery across the board. Beidou. Now Beidou's best in slot is Emblem, and it's by a decent amount too. If you're not running Emblem, a mixture between Thundering Fury, Noblesse, or any attack set in the game can work on her pretty well. Now for stats. For your sands, depending on what team you play on, or depending on how much energy recharge you need, it can be different. You can run an attack sands, an energy recharge sands, or an elemental mastery sands depending on what team you're playing. But for the Goblin and the Circlet, you do want to go electric damage and a crit circlet. Bennett. Now 4-piece Noblesse is going to be Bennett's best in slot. But if someone on your team already has it, you can run him on Tenacity or you can run him on Instructor. For stats, you just want to go for as much energy recharge as possible. So I would recommend an ER Sands over anything. Now for the Goblin and Circle, you can go for HP, but you do want as much energy recharge as possible, enough to be satisfied and burst every rotation. Candace. I'll talk about an on-field Candace first. A 4-piece Nymph's Dream is going to be a best, with 4-piece Gladiator and 4-piece Heart of Depth, both coming in decent seconds. You can also mix up a bunch of stuff, like any attack sets, any hydro damage sets, or ER sets, and HP sets. For your Sands, energy recharge is preferred, but if you already have enough energy recharge, attack percent is the way to go. For your Goblet, hydro damage. For your Circlet, either crit rate or crit damage depending on what you need. For an off-field Candace, a 4-piece Emblem is her best in slot, with the 4-piece Noblesse being another great option on her. Now again, same as before, you can mix up a bunch of hydro stuff, HP stuff, energy recharge stuff, or even burst damage stuff. Now if you're playing on Nilou Bloom teams, a 4-piece Gilded or 4-piece Flowers of Lost Paradise can be really good on her. For stats, you want to run full elemental mastery across the board. Now for Charlotte, a 4-piece Noblesse or 4-piece Tenacity both work insanely well to buff your team's attack. Now if you are building her as a healer, you can also put on a 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam, or you can put on a 4-piece Songs of Days Past. Now for main stats, you do want a ton of energy recharge. So your Sand should be energy recharge, your Goblet should be attack or cryo damage, and your Circlet should be healing bonus or crit rate if you're running something like Favonius Codex. Now for Chevreuse, either a 4-piece Noblesse or a 4-piece Tenacity both work really well. Other sets that work really well are 4-piece Ocean Hued, 4-piece Songs of Days Past, or 4-piece Maiden's Beloved. You can actually mix up any of those artifacts I just named and still be fine as well. For stats, you do want to go for an HP or energy recharge Sands, an HP Goblet, or an HP or healing bonus Circlet. You do want a decent amount of HP on her. Now for Chongyun, I'll go over a Melt team first. 4-piece Noblesse, 4-piece Emblem, or 2-piece Blizzard Story, mixing it with either Noblesse or an attack set, all work insanely well. You can also mix up 2-piece Emblem with another 2-piece if you are struggling for energy recharge. For stats, on the Sands you want to use EM, on the Goblet you want to use cryo damage, and on the Circle you want to use crit. Now for a freeze team, all the artifact sets I just named work. On top of that, you can use the 4-piece Blizzard Stoyer. For Collei, I'll go over an EM build first, then a crit build. 4-piece Gilded, 4-piece Noblesse, 4-piece Tenacity, and 4-piece Deepwood. All 4 of them work insanely well for her. Gilded is going to be a best in slot for stats. For the Sands, you do want energy recharge or elemental mastery depending on which one you need. For Goblet and Circlet, guaranteed you're going to be using EM. Now for a crit build, your best in slot is going to be Deepwood, assuming no one else has it on the team. But if somebody else does have it, 4-piece Gilded becomes your best in slot. Now even with the crit build, you could still play her as a support as well with the crits. So Tenacity and Noblesse and Instructor all work on her. And then for stats, for the Sands, you want either energy recharge, elemental mastery, or attack being your final option. But energy recharge and elemental mastery are your top options. For Goblet, dendro damage is the only option, and for Circle you want crit. Cyno. Now Cyno's best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Thundering Fury, but he has a ton of other sets he can use. 4-piece Gilded, 4-piece Gladiator, and 4-piece Flower of Lost Paradise all work pretty well. You can also mix up a bunch of 2-pieces, like 2-piece Thundering Fury with EM. For stats for Cyno, for the Sands you should go either Elemental Mastery, Attack Percentage, or ER Percentage if you don't have enough. For Goblet, Electric Damage or EM, and Circlet you want crit or EM. Now Deyha got a ton of playstyles, so get ready to hear it all. I'll talk about an on-field DPS, I'll talk about a Burgeon team, and then I'll talk about an off-field general support. For a DPS Deyha, a 4-piece Emblem is a best in slot, but a 4-piece Vorokasha's Glow is right there. Another set you can run is 4-piece Crimson Witch, or 4-piece Marie-Chaussee, assuming you're using her with Furina. You can also mix up a 2-piece of any artifact I just named. For an on-field DPS stats, you want an attack percentage or ER sans, a pyro goblet, and a crit circlet. For a Burgeon team, your best in slots are going to be Gilded or Flower of Paradise Lost. And if you don't have those sets, you can run it on a 2-piece EM, 2-piece EM set. For a Burgeon, you are going to want full EM across the board. And for an off-field general support, Tenacity of the Millilith is your best in slot, with Instructor coming in second, assuming your team needs EM. You can actually throw it on Deepwood, so then you don't have to run 2 Dendro characters on a specific team as well. And for an off-field support, you are going to want HP across the board. And if you are running Favonia's Greysword, you do want a Crit Circlet. Diluc doesn't have a ton of artifacts, but 4-piece Crimson is going to be his best in slot. You can also mix up 2-piece Crimson with another 2-piece attack set. And if you are playing him with Furina, you can put him on Mauricio Say Hunter and it's going to be really well on him. For stats on Diluc, you want an attack or EM Sans, a Pyro Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Now Diona does have a ton of artifacts you can use, depends on what you need. If you need a big shield, you might want to go for 2-piece HPs. So 2-piece Tenacity with a 2-piece Vorukasha. Another thing you can do is run it on 4-piece Noblesse, assuming your team needs attack. Or if you want to take advantage of her healing, you can run her on Maiden's Beloved, Ocean Hued Clam, or Songs of Days Past. Now, for Diona stats, you do want HP across the board. However, if you are running her on Favonius, you are going to want a Crit Rate Circlet. Dori. Now I'll go over a Hyper Bloom team first, then an Aggravate team, and then I will just go over a bunch of like support ones too. For a Hyper Bloom team, her best in slot is gonna be Gilded Dreams. Another artifact that you can use is gonna be the 4-piece Flowers of Paradise Lost. You can mix up 2-piece EMs, and that could work, but Gilded and Flowers are gonna be a lot better. For your stats, you do want on the Sands Elemental Mastery or Energy Recharge, and then Goblet and Circlet both EM. Now for an Aggravate team, you are gonna still want 4-piece Gilded as your best in slot. However, you can run a 4-piece Thundering Fury. On top of that, you can still mix up 2-piece of Elemental Mastery stats, ER stats, electric damage stats, or even attack. And then for stats, you are going to want Elemental Mastery or Energy Recharge as your stance. For a Goblet, you are going to want electric damage or EM. And for a Circle, you're going to go crit. If you are building her as a support / healer, you can put 4-piece Instructor or you can put 4-piece Noblesse. And then you're gonna want HP on the Sands, HP on the Goblet, and healing bonus. Eula's best in slot is gonna be a 4-piece Pale Flame, but if you don't have it, a 2-piece Pale Flame with a 2-piece Blood-Tainted Chivalry is gonna be a good option. And if you are struggling for ER, you can run 2-piece physical damage with 2-piece Emblem for the ER. Other ways you can go is 2-piece physical damage with 2-piece attack, and they work pretty well. Now for stats on Eula, for Sands, you can go attack percentage over ER. If you are completely struggling for energy, like I'm talking about have nothing, you can run on an energy recharge stance and be okay with it, but attack is going to be way better. For the Goblet, the only answer is going to be physical damage because that's all she does, and then you're going to go for a Crit Circlet. For Faruzan, now if you have Faruzan at C5, it is actually different from a C6 because of how her skill works and how her burst works when she's C6. So if you have her C5 and under, Noblesse is going to be your best in slot. Another set you can use is going to be Verdescent, and after that I would recommend the Exile set. Now if you are struggling for energy, you can run a 2-piece Emblem and a 2-piece Exile to give you as much energy as you need. Now if you are C6, your best in slot is going to be Tenacity of the Millilith. Now if you have Tenacity on your team already, you can run it on Golden Troop or even any 2-piece attack set. Of course Emblem is going to work, and all the artifacts I listed before can still work on her. Now for stats, you do want as much energy recharge as possible. So for the Sands, you do want pure energy recharge. And for the Goblet, you can go either a Nemo damage or you can just go anything with a good substat of energy recharge. And then for the Circlet, because you do play on Favonia's Boa, you should run her on a Crit Rate Circlet always. Fischl's best in slot is going to be Golden Troop. But if you don't have Golden Troop, a mixture of either Golden Troop, any attack set, any Elemental Mastery set, or Thundering Fury all work pretty good on her. If you are on an Aggravate team, another set that can work is a 4-piece Gilded Dreams. For the Sands, you want an attack percentage, but if you are on an Aggravate team, Elemental Mastery is going to be better. And then for a Goblet, electric damage is your best in slot, and for a Circlet, crit is your only option. Freminet. Now Freminet got a physical and cryo build. For physical, 4-piece Pale Flame is the best in slot, but you can also run a bunch of 2-pieces. Any 2-piece that has physical damage, attack on it, or even Emblem, because it does need a decent amount of ER. For physical, you are going to want Blizzard Destroyer as your best in slot. Now you can use Golden Troop, it is slightly better than a 2-piece set, and for your final option you can go a 2-piece. That could be 2-piece attack, 2-piece Emblem, or 2-piece Blizzard Destroyer. All of them work decent well. For both builds, you will use these main stats. Attack or energy recharge stance depends on what you need the most. Physical or cryo goblet, and then for circle you go crit. Furina's best in slot is gonna be Golden Troop, and by a good amount as well. Tenacity is going to be another option, but it does decrease Furina's damage by a good amount. Another good option is going to be mixing up sets. 2-piece HP, 2-piece energy recharge, 2-piece hydro damage, or 2-piece skill damage. Now for artifact stats. Sans, HP or energy recharge depends on which one you need more. Goblet, HP or hydro damage depends on which one has better substats for her. And then for a Goblet, you should be running crit. For Garming, your best in slot is going to be Mauricio Say Hunter. Your second best is going to be Crimson Witch of Flames. Other sets that work on him, Gilded is a good option that you might already have on your account, so you can't throw that on him. Vermilion is another option, and if you want to, you can just mix up a bunch of 2 pieces that have attack, elemental mastery, pyro damage, or a little bit of ER. Now for stats. For your Sans, you can go elemental mastery, attack percentage, or energy recharge. Depending on which one you need more, you should put them on that. Goblet's always going to be pyro damage, and Circular is going to be crit. Ganyu got a freeze and melt team. On a freeze team, your best assault is going to be Blizzard Stroyer, and if you don't have a Blizzard Stroyer farmed up, you can run a mixture of 2-piece attack, 2-piece cryo damage, and even 2-piece noblesse. For the stats, attack percentage on the Sans, cryo damage on the Goblet, and either crit damage or attack percentage on the Circlet. For a melt team, you can run 4-piece Wanderer's Troop, you can run 4-piece Shimenawa if you're okay with losing the energy, and you can just mix up a bunch of stuff. 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece attack, 2-piece EM. For the stats, EM or attack percentage on the Sans, Goblet should be cryo damage, and Circlet should be crit. Gorou, now for him he got 3 sets I would recommend. Noblesse Oblige 4-piece, the Exile 4-piece, or a mixture of Emblem and Husk, giving you defense and energy recharge. For stats, you are going to want an energy recharge Sans, a defense Goblet or geo damage Goblet, and a crit rate Circlet trying to get Favonius Warbow to activate. With both of Heizou's playstyle, whether it's an EM build or an attack build, I would recommend Verdescent as his artifact set, just switching up the stats. With an EM build, you want to go triple EM on the stats, and with an attack build, you want to go an attack Sans, an Anemo Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Utao. Now Utao's best in slot is going to be Crimson Witch. Shimenawa is going to be another great option for her, but messes up your energy a bit. And Gilded Dream is another great option. You can also mix up 2 pieces of HP, Elemental Mastery, and Pyro damage. For Sans, you are going to want an HP, but if you're really low on Elemental Mastery, you need an Elemental Mastery Sans. For Goblet, you are going to want Pyro Goblet, and for Circle, you are going to need Crit. For Ito, there's only one artifact set I would really tell you to put your Ito on, and that's Husk. But if you don't have a Husk farmed up, you can use Bolide. But again, if you don't have Bolide farmed up, you can mix up 2 pieces of Archaic Petra and Husk. For stats, you are going to want a defense Sans, you are going to want a geo damage Goblet, and a crit Circlet. Now for Jean. For Jean, you do got 2 types of playstyles. One where you're running EM, and the other one where you're sub DPS / support. I'll start off with the EM build because it's easier to talk about. The only artifacts that you want to use is 4-piece Verdescent. You are going to run it on either triple EM, or you are going to make your Sans energy recharge if you need it. Now, for the sub DPS style, you are going to go for a 2-piece attack / 2-piece Anemo damage, or you can throw in a 2-piece Noblesse and 2-piece Emblem. Any of those combinations can work. You can also put on a 4-piece Noblesse to support your whole team and give them a bunch of attack. For Sans, you do want attack or energy recharge on that build. For Goblet, Anemo damage, and for Circlet crit. You do need around 150 energy recharge, by the way. Now Kaeya got a freeze and a reverse melt team. For freeze teams, Blizzard Stroyer is his best in slot by a good amount as well. 4-piece Emblem or 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece Noblesse both work really well. You can also use a bunch of 2-piece attacks, 2-piece Blizzard Stroyer, 2-piece Noblesse, and they actually work decently well. For artifact stats, you are going to want an attack Sans. If you are struggling for energy, you might want energy recharge. For Goblet, you want cryo damage, and for Circle, you're going to want crit. And if you want Blizzard Stroyer, you're going to want crit damage. For a reverse melt team, your best in slot is going to be Emblem. But if you do have a 4-piece Lava Walker sitting there, you can actually put him on that. A 4-piece Gilded works, and so does a 2-piece Blizzard Stroyer and 2-piece Noblesse. You can put him on a bunch of 2-piece attack sets or 2-piece Blizzard Stroyer / Noblesse. For Sans, you want attack, energy recharge, or elemental mastery. For Goblet, you want cryo damage, and for Circle, you want crit. Now Kave. His best in slot is going to be Deepwood Memories. Oshud Hugh Clam, Instructor, Flower of Paradise Lost, and Gilded Dreams all work decent on him. You can also mix up any of those artifacts I just named and it will still work. For stats, for the Sans, you want to go energy recharge or elemental mastery depending on which one you need more. Goblet, you're going to want elemental mastery, and for the Circle, you're going to want crit or EM. Kazuha only got 1 artifact set I would recommend, and that's Verdescent. And for stats, I would recommend going elemental mastery across the board. but if you are struggling with energy, you can put him on an energy recharge stance. Now for Keqing. I am only going to talk about an aggravate Keqing because again, I don't think physical Keqing is worth it. Thundering Fury 4-piece is going to be a best in slot, and Thunder Soother 4-piece can work, but you can use a 4-piece Gilded because it's not far behind. Another thing you can do is mix up a bunch of 2-pieces that have Elemental Mastery, Attack, or Thundering Fury's 2-piece. For stats, for the Sands, I would recommend either between Elemental Mastery or Attack. Both of them work really well and you should go based off your substats. Electro Damage Goblet always, and a Crit Circlet. Now Kirawa got a bunch of artifact sets that are all really good on her. First, you can run a 2-piece Vorukasha and a 2-piece Tenacity for as much HP as possible. Another thing you could do is run a 4-piece Tenacity or a 4-piece Instructor. You can also run a 4-piece Deepwood or a 4-piece Noblesse. All these artifact sets are good support artifact sets for her. For your stats, you want an HP Sands, an HP Goblet, and either an HP Circlet or a Crit Circlet if you're using a Favonius weapon. Klee. Now Klee's best artifact set is going to be Crimson Witch of Flames, but a 2-piece Crimson and a 2-piece attack set is another great option. Another option that most people WoW farmed up is going to be 4-piece Gilded. It works really well. Or you can use a 2-piece Crimson and a 2-piece Elemental Mastery. Now for stats, you're going to want Attack or Elemental Mastery on the Sands, Pyro Damage on the Goblet, and Crit on the Circlet. Now for Kokomi. Whether you're an off-field support / healer or an on-field Hydro driver, the 2 sets you want to run are a 4-piece Tenacity or a 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam. You can also mix up these artifact sets as well. Now you don't want an Energy Recharge or HP Sands, a HP Goblet, and either an HP or Healing bonus Circlet. And if you're on a Nilo Bloom team, a 4-piece Deepwood, a 4-piece Gilded, or a 4-piece Flowers of Paradise Lost all work, and you want to go full EM across the board. Layla. Now for a Layla pure shield build, 4-piece Tenacity is going to be a best in slot option. Another set you can use is 4-piece Noblesse, but it will be a weak shield. You can also go 2-piece Tenacity and 2-piece Vorukasha. Or you can go 2-piece HP and 2-piece Emblem. Now for stats, you're going to want an HP or your Sands, an HP Goblet, and an HP Circlet, but if you are using Favonius, you want a Crit Rate Circlet. Now for a sub DPS Layla. A 4-piece Blizzard Slayer is going to be a best option, assuming you're running her on a Mono Cryo or Freeze team. Another set that is very good is going to be Emblem of Severed Fate 4-piece. Or you can keep your Noblesse set or Tenacity of the Millerless set that both work really well, or mixing any of these sets up also work well. For stats, you're going to want either HP or Energy Recharge on the Sands, Cryo Damage Goblet, or either an HP or Crit Circlet. First, I'll do a support Lisa. Noblesse and Instructor are your only sets you want to run. And for main stats, you do want Energy Recharge on the Sands. The main stat on the Goblet does not matter as long as you have the perfect substat. So try to go for as much Energy Recharge as possible. And for Circle, you're going to run Crit Rate so you can use Favonius Codex. And on-field Lisa, her best in slot is going to be Thundering Fury, with Thunder Soother actually coming in second. You can also put on Gilded or Noblesse and they work really well. Or mix up any of the 2 pieces I just named excluding Thunder Soother. For stats, you're going to want either an EM or an Attack Sands. You're going to want an Electro Damage Goblet and you're going to want a Crit Circlet. For an off-field DPS Lisa, 4-piece Gilded, 4-piece Flowers of Paradise Lost, 4-piece Thunder Soother all work pretty okay. Or you can mix up a bunch of 2 pieces. Any EM set, any Attack set, Thundering Fury, or even 2-piece Emblem all work pretty good. And for stats, it's going to be the same thing as before, but you might need to change the Sands Energy Recharge if you are struggling. Now for Lynette, her best in slot is going to be Verdescent. However, if your team doesn't need it, then 4-piece Emblem, 4-piece Marie Chaussee, 4-piece Desert, or 4-piece Noblesse all work. You can also mix up any of the artifacts I just named and it'll be fine. For stats, you either want an Energy Recharge or Elemental Mastery Sands, EM Goblet, and EM Circlet. Linny. Now Linny's best set is going to be Mauricio Say Hunter, with Lava Walker actually coming in second. Vermilion is also another artifact that he can use, and so is Shimenawa. Other than that, I would recommend mixing up any 2-piece of Crimson, 2-piece of Mauricio Say, or anything that provides 2-piece attack. Other than that, you can use a 4-piece Wanderer's Troop. And for stats, I would recommend an Attack Sands always, a Pyro Damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Mika. Now Mika's very simple, his kit is very small. Noblesse or Ocean Hued Clam can be his best in slot, with the Exile actually helping out your team a lot as well. And other than these artifacts, any 2-piece that has HP, healing bonus, or energy recharge can all help. And for stats, I would recommend an HP or energy recharge Sands, an HP Goblet, And for circlet, I would recommend healing bonus or HP, but you can use crit rate because most people will run Favonius Lance. Now for Mona, I'll go over DPS Mona first, where she's the one doing the damage, and then I'll go over support Mona. For DPS Mona, Heart of Depth, Emblem, or Wanderer's Troop all work very good. You can actually mix up a lot of artifacts as well, like attack artifacts with hydro damage artifacts, or you can get energy recharge artifacts with attack artifacts or hydro damage artifacts, all work really well. And for support Mona, you want to go for Noblesse, Tenacity, or Emblem of Severed Fate. Both playstyles use the same main stat: energy recharge or attack percentage on the sands, attack percentage or hydro damage on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. Now for Nahida, I would recommend a 4-piece Deepwood or a 4-piece Gilded on her. Now for stats, you go for an EM Sands always, an EM or Dendro damage goblet, and an EM or crit circlet. Navia. Now Navia's best in slot by a long shot is going to be Nighttime Whispers. However, if you don't have that, you can use a 2-piece Golden Troop mixed up with a 2-piece Archaic Petra or a 2-piece attack set. Any mixture between these three will all work. And if you are running her with Furina, you can put on Mauricio Say Hunter. For her stats, you're going to want attack or energy recharge on the sands, a geo damage goblet, and the crit circlet. Now for Nouvellette, I would recommend a 4-piece Mauricio Say Hunter over anything, but a 4-piece Heart of Depth and a 4-piece Nymph Dream are both really good. If you want, you can mix up Mauricio Say Hunter with either hydro damage or HP percentage. And for stats, you're going to want an HP Sands always, a hydro damage or HP goblet, and a crit circlet, but you can also use an HP circlet if you're really low on HP. Nilou. Now for Nilou, you want to stack as much HP as possible. So going a 2-piece Tenacity with a 2-piece Vorukasha is going to be a best option by a good amount. And honestly, the only set I would recommend on her. For your stats, you want as much HP as possible. So Sands HP percent, Goblet HP percent, and Circlet HP percent. Ningguang's best in slot is going to be Nighttime Whispers, but if you don't have it farmed up, a 2-piece Archaic Petra with 2-piece Emblem is strong. A 4-piece Emblem is also very strong, and so is a 4-piece Husk. Another set you can run is a 2-piece Archaic Petra with a 2-piece attack, or you can mix up a bunch of the stuff I named, like a 2-piece Archaic Petra, a 2-piece Noblesse, a 2-piece Attack, or a 2-piece Emblem. For her stats, you want attack on the sands, geo damage on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. Noelle's best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Husk, but if you don't have a 4-piece Husk, a 4-piece Gladiator could work. And if you actually have a 4-piece Echoes, you can put it on that too, assuming you're on low ping. And if you don't have any of those, I would recommend a 2-piece Archaic Petra with a 2-piece Husk. And for stats, for your artifact stats, I would recommend a defense sands, assuming you're C6, but if you're not, an attack sands is better. For your goblet, geo damage or defense both work, and for a circle you want crit. Chi-Chi's best in slot can vary depending on what you need for the team. You can use 4-piece Tenacity of the Millelith, you can use a 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam, you can use a 4-piece Noblesse, and you can use a 4-piece Songs of Days Past. You can also mix up 2-piece of healing bonus with any 2-piece attack. For the stats, I would recommend either attack or energy recharge on the sands, attack on the goblet always, and either attack or healing bonus on the circlet. Shogun. Now Shogun got 2 types of playstyles. One where she's on field using her burst, and another where she's going to be hyper blooming with her skill. For the burst team, you do only want to run 4-piece Emblem. It's just an artifact set made for her. For stats, it depends on what you really need. So for sands, energy recharge or attack percent work really well. And for goblet, you can use between electro damage or attack percent. Again, it depends on what you really need. And for circle, you're gonna go crit. For hyper bloom, you're gonna want to run either Gilded or Flowers of Paradise Lost. Both these sets, you do want to go for as much elemental mastery as possible. So you want to run elemental mastery on sands, goblet, and the circlet. And for substats on the flower and feather, you just want elemental mastery. For Razor, I'll go over a hyper bloom team and I'll go over a aggravate team. For hyper bloom, you are gonna want to run the same thing as Shogun, either a 4-piece Gilded or a 4-piece Flowers on all elemental mastery. However, you are gonna need some energy recharge on him, so you might want to switch his weapon to energy recharge, or you might want to run an energy recharge set. For an aggravate Razor, a 4-piece Thundering Fury is going to be his best in slot, with 4-piece Thunder Soother working if you can keep 100% Electro uptime. Another set that's still amazing on him is 4-piece Gilded, or you can mix up a bunch of 2 pieces that have either Elemental Mastery, Attack, Thundering Fury, or even Emblem in case you need energy recharge. For stats, you want either EM or Attack on the sands, Electro damage on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. Rosaria, I'll go over a melt team for Rosaria and I'll go over a freeze team. First, the freeze team. Her best in slot is going to be between Blizzard Stroyer. If your team's missing a Noblesse user, I would recommend her on that artifact, but if it's not, 4-piece Blizzard Stroyer is amazing. You can also mix up both of them or mix up one of them with an attack set. Now for stats, attack on the sands, cryo damage on the goblet and either crit rate or crit damage on the circlet, but if you are running 4-piece Blizzard Slayer, I would recommend always crit damage. Now for a melting, her best in slot is going to be between Gilded Dreams and 4-piece Emblem. Another set that works really well on her is going to be 4-piece Lava Walker if you have one farmed up. You can also mix up a bunch of artifacts set like 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Emblem, or anything that has 2-piece attack or 2-piece Elemental Mastery. Now for the stats, on the sands you want either Elemental Mastery or attack. On the goblet you're going to want cryo damage, and on the circle you're going to want crit. For Sara, a 4-piece Emblem is going to be a best in slot, but you can also put on a 4-piece Noblesse or a 4-piece Tenacity of the Millilith to be a support. Another thing you can do is mix up a bunch of 2-pieces like Thundering Fury, 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Emblem, or any 2-piece attack set. Now for your stats, I would recommend attack percent or energy recharge on the sands. You do need a lot of energy with this, so energy recharge more likely. Goblet, I would recommend electro damage. Circlet, I would recommend crit. Now for Sayu, I would only recommend a 4-piece Verdescent for Sayu, whether you're building her on a healing build or a driver build. Now for stats, you can run triple EM, so Elemental Mastery Sands, Goblet, and Circlet, or you can run an attack Sands, an Anemo Goblet, and a crit circlet. Now for Shenhe, I would recommend a Noblesse over anything. However, if you already have a Noblesse Oblige on your team, these artifact sets work really well. Mixing up any 2-piece of attack or 2-piece emblem work really well. A 4-piece emblem works really well, and a 4-piece tenacity works really well. Now for stats, no matter the artifact set, you are going to be running the same stats. For sands, energy recharge or attack is the way to go. For your goblet, you do want attack percentage all the way, and for circlet, you do want attack percentage again, but if you want Favonius, crit rate is the way to go. Now for Kuki Shinobu, I am going to go over a Hyper Bloom team first, and then an Aggravate team. For Hyper Bloom, there's only 2 sets I would recommend. A 4-piece Flowers or a 4-piece Gilded. If you don't have any of these, you can also do a 2-piece of EM stats. And for your stats, you are going to run Elemental Mastery across the board. For an Aggravate team, one of your best options can be Tenacity of the Millilith as a support, or even Thunder Soother work really well. Thundering Fury works okay as well, and Gilded Dreams is another good option. Now for your stats, I would recommend an Elemental Mastery Sands, an Electro Damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. For your on-field and off-field Sucrose, the only artifact set I would recommend is a 4-piece Verdescent. And for stats, I would recommend EM across the board, but if you are struggling to get a burst up, then you can run an Energy Recharge Sands. Now for Tartaglia. For Tartaglia, you can run a 4-piece Nymph's Dream or a 4-piece Heart of Death. Another set you can run, but it's kinda iffy, is a 4-piece Shimenawa. If you don't have any of those sets farmed up, you can run any Hydro damage set with any attack set, or you can run a 2-piece Hydro damage set with 2-piece Noblesse and try to get as much burst damage as possible. For stats, you are gonna always want to run an attack Sands, a Hydro Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Now for Toma. I'll go over a Shield Toma and then I'll go over a Burgeon Toma. For a Shield Toma, a 4-piece Noblesse works and a 4-piece Tenacity works. Other sets that can work are 2-piece HP sets with 2-piece Emblem because he has a high energy cost. Or you can run a 2-piece Emblem with 2-piece Exile or 2-piece Scholar to get 40% ER. Now for his stats, I would recommend Energy Recharge or HP on the Sands, mainly towards Energy Recharge though, HP on the Goblet, and Crit Rate on the Circle if you have Favonius Slants, but if you're not using it, HP is a better way to go. For a Burgeon Toma, Flowers of Paradise Lost or Gilded Dreams are going to be the best in slot. But if you don't have any of these farmed up, any 2-piece mixture with another 2-piece of Elemental Mastery is going to be fine. And slightly worse than that is going to be a 4-piece Crimson Witch of Fames. You're going to want to run Elemental Mastery across the board, but on your sands you might need Energy Recharge because his burst is hard to get. Tignari, his best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Deepwood Memory. However, if somebody else already has it on the team, his best in slot actually does change to a 4-piece Wanderer's Troop. And if you don't have a 4-piece Wandering Troop, you can run a 4-piece Gilded Dreams. Other ways you can go is 2-piece mixture between Dendro damage, attack percentage, or Elemental Mastery. For your stats, you want an attack or Elemental Mastery Sands, a Dendro damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. I am going to go over all the variants of Traveler. I'll start with the Nemo, and then Dendro, and then Electro, then Geo, and then Hydro. A Nemo Traveler's best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Verdescent. And if you're not going to play him on Verdescent, a 2-piece Verdescent with 2-piece attack set would work pretty fine. And another set you can use is going to be 4-piece Noblesse. For your stats, on your sands you're going to want EM or attack. On your goblet you're going to want EM or Anemo damage. And then on your circle you're going to want EM or crit. It's your choice if you want to go a full EM build or a attack variant build. For a Dendro Traveler, you are going to want 4-piece Deepwood most of the time. But if somebody else is running it, a 4-piece Noblesse can work on an Aggravate team. a 4-piece emblem could work, and a 4-piece Gilded Dreams or Flowers of Lost Paradise can work as well. A 4-star set that could work is 4-piece Instructor to give your team EM. For stats, on a pure Bloom team, you are going to want Energy Recharge on the Sand, Elemental Mastery on the Goblin, and Elemental Mastery on the Circlet. On any other team, you are going to want Energy Recharge on the Sands, Dendro Damage Goblet, and Crit Circlet. If you have enough Energy Recharge on him, you don't need an Energy Recharge Sands, by the way. For Electric Traveler, his best in slot is going to be 4-piece Emblem. But if you don't have a 4-piece Emblem for him, you can mix up a bunch of 2-pieces. 2-piece Emblem with 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Thundering Fury, or any 2-piece EM or attack set can work pretty good. Other sets that work good are 4-piece Thundering Fury or 4-piece Noblesse if your team could use it. For stats, Energy Recharge on the Sands, always. But for Goblin, you can use Electric Damage or Elemental Mastery, and for Circle, you could go Crit or Elemental Mastery. For GOMC, a 4-piece Emblem is going to be a great set on him. But again, if you don't want to use a 4-piece Emblem on him, a 2-piece Archaic Pectra or any of those two mixed up with a 2-piece attack work pretty well. And if you want to, you can put him on a 4-piece Noblesse, allowing your team to get the attack buff. For stats, I would recommend Energy Recharge or Attack Percent on the Sands, Geo Damage on the Goblet, and Crit on the Circle. Hydro Traveler. Now I'll go over a Hydro Traveler sub DPS, and then I'll go over a Bloom team. But honestly, don't build Hydro Traveler. But if you do, best in slot for a sub DPS build. Any Hydro Damage set with the 2-piece Golden Troop is going to be fine. Mixing up Hydro Damage set with another Hydro Damage set is going to be fine. Or mixing up Hydro Damage set or a Golden Troop or any attack set all work pretty good. And for the stats, you're going to want attack or HP on the Sands, a Hydro Damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. For a Bloom team, your best in slot is going to be either Flowers of Paradise Lost or Gilded Dreams. But you can also mix them both if you want to. For your Sands, you're going to want Elemental Mastery or Energy Recharge. For the Goblet, you're going to want EM. And for the Circle, you're going to want Elemental Mastery. But if you are using Favonius Sword, you could put Crit Rate. Now for Venti, I'll go over an EM Venti and a Crit Venti. For EM Venti, the only artifact set I would recommend is a 4-piece Verdescent, Elemental Mastery as your stats across the board. And try to get Energy Recharge on some substats. Now for a Crit Venti. Again, your best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Verdescent. However, if your team doesn't care about Resistance Shred, a 4-piece Emblem works well. Other sets you can use is mixing up 2-piece Anemo Damage with 2-piece Noblesse or 2-piece Attack. And for your stats, you're going to want Attack Percentage on the Sands, Anemo Damage or Attack Percent on the Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Wanderer got a good amount of artifacts he could use, but his best in slot is going to be a Desert Pavilion. But if you don't want to farm one up, a 4-piece Shimenawa can work on him. Again, if you don't want to get fucked by the energy, a 4-piece Echoes works on him well, and you can mix up a bunch of 2-pieces that I just named. Any 2-piece Anemo Damage with 2-piece attack works well. And for stats, I would recommend an attack stance, Anemo Goblet, and Crit Circlet. Now for Risley, Mauricio Sei Hunter is going to be his best in slot. However, a 4-piece Shimenawa can work really well. Now you can mix up a bunch of 2-pieces like Mauricio Sei, Blizzard Destroyer, and any attack set. But if you are on a freeze team, his best in slot does change to a 4-piece Blizzard Destroyer. For your Sands, you're mostly going to use attack percent Sands, but if you are using a reverse melt team, an Elemental Mastery Sands works just as well. For your Goblin, you're going to want Cryo Damage, and for your Circle, you're going to want Crit. Now for Xiangling, there is only 3 artifact sets I would recommend on Xiangling, and that's Emblem being her best in slot, 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames being her second best, and a 4-piece Gilded actually working pretty decent on her. Now for the stats, for your Sands, you're going to want either Energy Recharge, Elemental Mastery, or Attack. All of them work really well and go off what you're going to need more of. For your Goblin, you're going to want Pyro Damage, and for your Circlet, you're going to want Crit. Now Chongyun, she is kind of complicated because it does depend on what team you're playing, so I'll tell you guys depending on which team you're playing what you should use. If you are using a Zhao team, the artifact set I would recommend is either Ocean Hued Clam, Songs of Days Past, or if nobody has it, a Noblesse. But if you're playing on any other team, a 4-piece Verdescent does become your best in slot. No matter which team, you are going to want the same stats. Either an Energy Recharge or Attack Sands, Attack Goblet, and an Attack Circlet. Zhao has a good amount of artifact sets he can use. A 4-piece Vermilion is going to be his best in slot, with the 4-piece Mauricio Sei coming in second. But if you don't have any of those sets farmed up, you can run any 2-piece of Anemo Damage or any 2-piece Attack, mixing them up together. For your stats, you are going to want an Attack Sands, Anemo Damage or Attack Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. For Xingqiu, I would always recommend a 4-piece Emblem on it, but if you don't have one farmed up, you can mix up either Noblesse, Emblem, Hydro Damage sets, or Attack sets. If you are playing him on field, Nymph's Dream actually works pretty decent. For your stats, I would recommend either Energy Recharge or Attack percent on the Sands, whichever you need more of, Hydro Damage Goblet, and a Crit Circlet. Now for Xinyun, I'm going to go over Physical, and then I'm going to go over Pyro. For Physical, her best in slot is going to be Pale Flame, but not by that much. A 2-piece Bloodstained and a 2-piece Pale Flame compete really close. But if you are missing them, you can use a 2-piece Physical Damage and a 2-piece Attack percent, and they work pretty well. You can also mix up 2-piece emblem with 2-piece physical damage or 2-piece physical damage with noblesse, and they work pretty well too. For your stats, you are going to want attack percentage or energy recharge on the sands. For your goblin, you're going to want physical damage, and then for your circle, you're going to want crit. Now for a pyro Shinyan, 4-piece lava walker is going to be a best in slot because you will have 100% uptime on a mono pyro team. Mainly you are going to play on a mono pyro team. Another set that works is a 2-piece emblem with 2-piece Crimson Witch or a 2-piece emblem with a 2-piece attack set. You can also run it on 4-piece Crimson Witch if you want. For your main stats, energy recharge or attack percent are your best in slots on the sands. Goblet, I would recommend pyro damage, and circlet, I would recommend crit. For Yae Miko, her best in slot is going to be between a 4-piece golden shoe, 4-piece gilded, especially if you're on an aggravate team, and a 4-piece emblem of Severed Fate. But you can mix up a bunch of artifacts with her. Any 2-piece electric damage with 2-piece emblem, with 2-piece attack percentage, with 2-piece golden troop, all work really well on her. And if you are on a mono electro team, you can use a 4-piece thunder suit and it works really good too. For your stats, you are going to want attack percent or energy recharge on the sands, electro damage on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. Yanfei, I'll go over a vaporized Yanfei and then I'll go over a virgin Yanfei. For vaporize, your best in slot is going to be Crimson Witch of Flames with Wanderer's Troop or Shimenawa coming in second. Another set that works very good on her is a 4-piece Gilded Dreams. You can also mix up a bunch of 2-piece Crimson with a 2-piece EM set, or a 2-piece attack set with a 2-piece EM set, or any mixture like that works really good. For stats, I would recommend attack or elemental mastery on the sands, a pyro damage goblet, and a crit circlet. Now for Yanfei Virgin, I would recommend either Gilded Dreams or Flowers of Paradise Lost. You can still run it on 4-piece Crimson and get away with it, but I would recommend the 2-piece EM with another 2-piece EM set over that. And for your substats, you want to go Elemental Mastery across the board because she could Virgin with her charge attacks. Yao Yao. Now Yao Yao got 4 artifact sets you could use on her, but the first 2 I recommend are a lot better than the other 2. If you are running a team where Dendro is the main source of damage, her best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Deepwood. But if somebody's already on that set, or you're not running a team where Dendro is the main damage, a 4-piece Instructor becomes your best in slot. If you are using a team that scales off attack, a 4-piece Tenacity of the Millilith works really well, and if you want it as a pure healer, any healing set or a set where you get HP mixed with healing bonus works really well. Now for your stats, I would recommend HP or energy recharge on the sands, HP on the goblet, and healing bonus or HP on the circlet. Now for Yelan. Yelan, I would only recommend grinding a 4-piece emblem for her, but if you don't have one farmed up, you can mix up any 2-piece energy recharge, 2-piece HP, 2-piece hydro damage, or a 2-piece noblesse with her. And for the stats, I would recommend HP or energy recharge on the sands, HP or hydro damage on the goblet, and either crit or HP on the circlet. Now for Yoimiya. Her best in slot is going to be a 4-piece Shimenawa, but other sets you can run on her are a 4-piece Crimson Witch, a 4-piece Bolide, especially if you're running her with Zhongli, a 4-piece Echoes, or mixing up 2-piece attack, 2-piece pyro damage, or as stats, I would recommend attack or elemental mastery on the sands, pyro damage goblet, and crit circlet. Yunjin. Yunjin doesn't got a lot of artifacts that she could use, but the ones she can use work really well on her. 4-piece Husk is an amazing set on her, while a 2-piece Husk and 2-piece Emblem work really good too. If nobody on the team has it, you can run it on a 4-piece Noblesse as well. For your stats, I would recommend defense or energy recharge on the sands, defense on the goblet, and defense on the circlet. But if you are using Favonius, you can run Krive. Now for Zhongli. I am going to go over a shield bot build for him and a burst support build for him. For a shield bot, the only artifact set I would recommend is going for a 4-piece Tenacity of the Millilith. I think it's just worth it for him and it buffs your team's attack and it's literally made for him. For your stats, you are going to want HP on the sands and goblet and either HP on the sands or Crivate if you're using Favonius Lance. For a burst support, a 4-piece Noblesse is going to be a best in slot because it will give you damage and support to your team. But you can also use a 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate to buff his damage like crazy. Another set you can use is a 4-piece Archaic Pectra or mixing up any of the sets I just named. For your stats, you want attack percent or HP on the sands, a geo damage goblet, and a crit circlet.